We're headed to Arizona/Minnesota. Kyler's not allowed to talk to other teams until Wednesday, but we've seen some quarterbacks already find some landing spots. Geno's with the Jets. Tua is with the Falcons. Vikings, nothing's going on. Or is there? Next team odds. Kyler's a heavy favorite to go to Minnesota. Greg, how scary are the Vikings if Kyler lands in Minnesota?
This would make them a playoff potential team, for sure. Like with Kyler Murray in that building, with that talent that they already possess and have on offense, with that defense that we know is locked and loaded, yeah, you have to respect the run. You have to respect him if he turns and he looks like he's handing it off and he has any sense to pull it and just scatter with. It just gives you a completely different question of how you approach this offense. Knowing you have Addison, Jets on the outside, you already have that. If they get any semblance of a running game and get a running back in there that's going to run the ball and pose them as a threat to run the ball.
When Kyler helps your run game, like you're talking about, just his presence historically has helped running backs.
It changes everything on how you approach this team offensive or defensively. But Kyler Murray, obviously, he's a step up, a few steps up than J.J. McCarthy and where he is. I just don't see J.J. making the jump to even being where Kyler is at this current place and where he is in his career.
I think they're incredibly scary. Like, I don't know, it's not time yet to make predictions and all of that in terms of worst to first and Super Bowls and championships, but it's just an unbelievable fit for Kyler.
Sneaky, they are not the worst. They were not the worst team.
They won 9 games.
Detroit was in last place.
Yeah, Detroit ended up finishing in last place. That is true. But in terms, that's an excellent point. But they are just, if you're Kyler Murray, I got to imagine he cannot believe how fortunate he is. Like, you leave Arizona, he talks about like the failure that he felt there, even though he got the second contract and he'd been to the playoffs, but so I felt like he let him down
once.
Right? No,
7 years.
Yeah, just once. And so I understand why, but he looks around, and you mentioned the defense. They have a championship caliber defense.
No doubt about
it. Brian Flores cannot get a job head coaching in the NFL for reasons explainable and otherwise. That's what their defense has been over a 3-year sample since he's been there. So it is a Super Bowl caliber defense the moment Kyler Murray walks in. And we don't have to be like that old to remember what it looked like in Minnesota when they just got anything from the offense. If we, like the last 2 years, we put their offensive numbers side by side. Like when they had the 9th best offense in football, they won 14 games. Right. So is Kyler Murray the 9th best quarterback? No. But with Jefferson, with Addison, in a dome, with
Hockenson,
with O'Connell calling the plays, who's gotten a lot out of Darnold, who got a lot out of Kirk Cousins, like there's a very, very high ceiling in Minnesota if Kyler goes there.
I agree with you guys, and I'm like with Greg, they would definitely be in a very tough division, a playoff contender. I mean, who would be the odd team out if there's only one, or maybe there'd be two?
That's what I want to know.
That would be, well, it might be Detroit if it goes well in Minnesota, or it could be Green Bay. Like, it could be any of them. I mean, honestly, if he clicks,
it could be Chicago.
Right? No, if he clicks there, it could. Like, all those teams are good. But the point is this: I'm interested. I love the fit for all that Minnesota has, and Kyler now has all this talent around him. However, he's a playmaker, and O'Connell has won. You know, it's been, paint by numbers, just be on schedule, do what I want done. And so you would think Kyler's been humbled enough to just let the system work for you rather than just wanting to make plays. And for O'Connell, does he incorporate enough room for Kyler to be himself and when it calls for it to make plays? So I think it's a great fit as far as the talent around him. I don't think, it's not like Darnold is a guy that was just going to do what he was, the offense told him to do. Kyler likes to make plays on his own. So I think I'd be interested in seeing how they kind of find that happy medium, because I think that's what you want to do to maximize Kyler's potential.
Well, yeah, that falls on, obviously, your play caller, who in this case happens to be your head coach, and Kevin O'Connell. But a lot of this would fall on Kyler Murray.
To accept.
Yes, that part. Because early in his career, we saw him as an electric quarterback because of what he can do outside the pocket with his legs, and he didn't want any part of that. He's like, I want to be seen and viewed and known as a pocket passing guy. So you would, from those sentiments that he has shared and expressed, you would believe or think you would hope to believe that I'm going to go in there and I'm going to try to just run the system and incorporate who I am. Because Kevin O'Connell isn't going to say, I don't want you to be Kyler Murray. No, that's what makes you special. Like, he would preferred, he wanted Kirk Cousins to use his legs more. Like even Sam Darnold, but that's just not what they leaned into. Naturally, Kyler Murray would lean into that, and so you benefit. The team gets better. The team has success when you are Kyler Murray. Right. And what separates you from everyone else is what you can do and provide with your legs.
This is also one of those stories that's just like why the NFL's the best. Like they missed the playoffs last year. They had traded up for J.J. McCarthy. That was polarizing. They move on from Sam Darnold. That was crushed. And they could fall into a former number 1 overall pick who's one of the most talented athletes to come into the league, with questions about work ethic, with questions about fit and playing on schedule, with questions about size. So like that, but that only adds to the intrigue. And it's like, it might bust. There are definitely, there's a negative
But we
case
would all be locked in.
Yeah, it's like, one of the craziest athletes in the league with one of the strongest arms gets to go. Justin Jefferson was talking to you guys a month ago, being like, oh, of course I'm still the best receiver in football. I've just had quarterback issues. He wouldn't have a talent issue or an arm issue with this quarterback. They would probably trade J.J. McCarthy.
So that's what I wanted. Like, what's the market for J.J.? Right, or is there a chance they like Jordan Love him, where it's like Kyler's in now, you need more?
Yeah, I don't know that you have to. I mean, I don't know that you have to trade him. You just sit him and hope he learns
you'd be
something.
Trading at a very low value.
Selling very low. But I don't know that I don't think Kyler signs up for a competition.
No. Kyler starts.
No. And even if he did, he would win it.
Yeah, I agree.
As far as JJ goes, like, yes, he's never been in a situation where he can truly sit and learn, because even the year that Sam Darnold had the breakout year last year, 2 years ago.
Now 2 years ago.
He was hurt, so he couldn't get on the field. He couldn't take the reps and mimic what he was seeing. He had to be a student of the game. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he really approached that the right way. And this would be one of those moments where if Kyler were to come in, you're on the roster. If he wins the job, which I believe we all agree, he would win the job. Even if they said it was a competition, he wins the job. If you don't take this opportunity to study and learn and improve, both as a mental approach and physically, when you get the practice reps, then it's really telling if that's the case. But he's not going to beat out Kyler Murray if the Vikings go and get.
Any pressure on Kevin O'Connell?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
I know he's
yes.
I don't know,
brilliant.
man.
Because
different quarterback every year.
I understand
guys who've had career years with him.
When you get rid of your general manager, and it's like, yes, and they spend the money the way they did. They were shooting for a team that was going to be a contender. They didn't make the right call as it pertains to the quarterback position. Now we bring in Kyler Murray, and we feel like, he has the talent. We have to see the productivity out of that. The next piece that's going to be removed is definitely going to be your head coach.
Okay, listen,
somebody else might jump and grab him right away.
I think 10 teams would hire Kevin O'Connell tomorrow.
Stefanski.
Yeah.
Kind of like Stefanski. I definitely believe it would be a hot market for Kevin O'Connell. But he's the next thing that gets unplugged.
Yeah, we saw a little Sean McDermott. Remember, it's like Sean McDermott's trying to DC's gone and switch the OCs. Like, buddy, you're next in line.
Sure.
And Brandon Beane's like, well, no, I'm looking around.
Kyler Murray's a great backup plan, though. Like you thought you were stuck with J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah.
Now you get Kyler Murray. It's pretty good.
Top 10 Tuesday. We did top 10 winners earlier in the show. Now it's time for top 10 duds of free agencies, people, teams, concepts.
That's right.
What?
Yeah, people's teams.
We weren't allowed to say losers.
People's teams and
People,
concepts.
teams, and
I've heard on this show it's a rich
ideas.
tapestry.
Yeah, that's
so
for
we'll
sure.
apply that. So coming in at number 10, this one's pretty self-explanatory. Baker Mayfield. Even if I supported not giving Mike Evans that contract and reallocating resources from offense to defense, Baker has still thrown 27 touchdowns to Mike Evans since he's been a Buck. The next most is 9. So I like Ibuka a lot, but this is going to be a significant adjustment for Baker, for Bucks fans, for the city of Tampa. Like, he's been an institution there. So Baker Mayfield, a dud of this free agent class. Coming in at number 9, Vic Fangio. Maybe the best defensive coordinator in football, still has a ton of talent. Jalen Carter, Davis, Campbell, Bond, Cooper DeJean. But when you lose Blankenship, your captain, you lose Nakobe Dean, you lose Jalen Phillips, and last year you lose Milton Williams. Like, at some point, the dam breaks on how much talent you've lost on that side of the ball. Still have a lot of talent there, but you are going to be asked to do more with less. And as Greg said earlier, in Howie Roseman we trust. Coming in at number 8, Michael Penix Jr. Even though I think he would win a competition with Tua, it's a new coach, it's a new GM, it's a new president of football operations, so none of the infrastructure that drafted you with a first-round pick is there. They clearly either had questions about your talent or your ability to stay healthy that they rushed to sign Tua and bring him in. Tua's going to get all the offseason reps as you recovered. And you've played in 12 games, and in 6 of them, you've completed less than 60% of your passes. So it's not like you've shown a ton that you're going to be the guy. He all of a sudden, in year 3, finds himself smack dab in the middle of a good old-fashioned quarterback competition. Coming in at number 7, my friend and our leader, Kevin Wildes.
What did I
Oh,
Now,
Here's Romeo Dobbs.
You got Romeo Dobbs.
That's why you're.
He's 6'4".
I heard he was 6'4". You lose Bradbury, you lose Tonga, you lose Stephon Diggs, but that's all on the peripheral. You know who hasn't signed? Trey Hendrickson. Which means Trey Hendrickson is still a story. Which means it's still a topic. Which means we still get to debate Trey Hendrickson on the show call every day, which is Wildes' least favorite part of the day.
We've done a tremendous amount of stories on Trey Hendrickson, and he is still on the Bengals, or maybe not,
Well,
but he's
no,
still,
no.
I don't know.
Limbo
he's
right
got-
still out there.
He could
He's
be
still
a
out
Patriot.
there.
He's still out there.
We've been doing it for 2 years now.
So it's still a conversational topic, which drives Wildes crazy.
I would love to have Trey Hendrickson on the show. It'd be like seeing a huge
He's not
celebrity.
doing
in
much.
Yeah, let's get him on.
Get him.
Coming in at number 6, similar logic to number 9, Steve Spagnuolo. I know the argument out of Kansas City is, well, we just develop corners. That is not easy to do. like they have lost a tremendous amount of secondary talent this free agency. Lots of the Rams. One of the best organizations in football was like, oh, you want to give us Trent McDuffie? We'll make him the highest paid corner in football history. Of the returning players on the Chiefs depth chart right now in their secondary, they have 9 total starts. Like, it's just, there's not a lot of experience there in Kansas City, so Steve Spagnuolo is going to be asked to do a lot with a little. Coming in at number 5, Aaron Rodgers. Apparently he's got no new contract. I listened to him on McAfee, and he's like, hey, there's no contract in front of me. I got nothing to sign with. They go out and get Michael Pittman Jr. I don't love Pittman as a player, don't love him as a fit next to DK Metcalf. I don't think Minnesota's about to call for Aaron Rodgers, so it's either retirement or Pittsburgh, but apparently they're not calling, and I don't think there's enough reinforcements coming for them. They're spending a ton of money at the receiver room, but not getting a lot of production. Number 4, Jerry Jones. Where's the splash, Jerry? Jalen Thompson for $33 million as a safety. Nice player, but you said you were going to break the budget. This is the biggest contract he's given out since Brandon Carr back in 2012. They missed out on Max Crosby. They haven't spent at the top of the market.
Trey Hendrickson's calling.
Flashback to number 7, Trey Hendrickson. Maybe he goes in there. Now, I got to be honest. I'm going to put Wildes on the list at number 7. This one pains me a little bit. I'm coming in at number 3, putting myself on the list.
Oh.
Listen, the Bears' free agency's been fine. Kobe Bryant, nice player, but it means they're going to lose Byard. It means they're going to lose Brisker. I got serious questions about the Bears, and I'm trying to make this whole national TV thing work. And I'm not saying I need the Bears, but they've won the offseason the last few years. The Bryce Young trade, the Caleb Williams selection, the Ben Johnson hire. They've been the offseason champs 3 years in a row.
Yeah, now it's just like maybe Ben Johnson takes his shirt off at a Blackhawks game.
Right, like if this is going to be it was a Bulls game. If this is going to be I'm locked in on that beat. If this is going to be a quiet Bears offseason, I don't love that. Yeah. For me personally, I got to be honest. Coming in at number 2, LeBron James. Nick's real biased. Okay, I don't like Nick's bias with why he's putting Michael Jordan on the list. LeBron, real dud of this free agent class, he's a Browns fan. Big yikes for the Browns. Titus Howard at $45 million. Zion Johnson at $49 million. Zion Johnson, former Charger. That offensive line wasn't good. $49 million. I don't like that at all. And his other team is the Cowboys. Jerry Jones is already on the dud list. Tough free agency period.
The dud list is.
Oh, the dud list is coming up. These are the top 10 duds of free agency.
It is a list.
It's a list of duds.
Yeah.
It's tricky. It's complicated. And coming in at number 1, Lamar Jackson. Okay. Time's yours, Lamar. You have a new head coach. You have a new pass rusher. You're number 1 on number 1 Raven fan Chris Broussard's SBOB list. And you're supposed to perform at an MVP level. You're coming off the year where you just got sacked more than you've ever been sacked before in terms of sack percentage, and you just lost a 3-year consecutive Pro Bowler at center and Isaiah Likely. Max Crosby makes you better. I like the hire at coach, but for you specifically, pressure's on. Tough free agency period for Lamar Jackson. Oh. Brew, I assume, perfect, not dud list?
Not bad. Not bad. And Wildes will like this. The one guy I would add, Trey Hendrickson. I mean, seriously though, Trey Hendrickson is a obviously very good player. I wonder, you just hear the reports he's asking for some astronomical amount of money. We just saw Jalen Phillips get $30 million a year. We just saw Daniil Hunter get $40 million a year. Does Trey, I'm just throwing it out there, does he have an inflated idea of his value? Teams obviously didn't pounce on him. Now the Cowboys are still there. I mean, they've even done a few things, but I just wonder what is going to happen. And is he going to get hurt in a situation where a lot of the money is spent and some of the teams that needed that position or wanted that position have already gotten somebody, whether it was for more or for lesser? Like, I just wonder what in the world is going on. This feels like what has happened with him in Cincinnati is now happening with him in the whole league. So I don't know. I hope he gets his money. I didn't like the way they did him in Cincinnati, but this is odd.
I think he's going to go to Tampa, but yeah, he probably will be one of those guys that for a bunch of reasons, that is just like perennially disappointed with the long-term contract and the long-term guarantees. Probably have to sign a shorter deal than he would like.
Look, I think the dud list or the top 10
duds of free agency
is pretty good. Spags, I would actually move up.
Really?
I would move because of what they lost. Like, a large part of what makes his defenses work, and again, he's been brilliant, but when he can dial up that blitz and you still have a Jalen Watson, a Trent McDuffie that can man up, and Brian Cooks in the back end that has been solid for you back there, you trust the communication isn't going to break down. We will have exactly what we need to cover us. You don't have that anymore. And I know you had a signing for safety and you got a D tackle, but where's your secondary? Where's your corners that are going to be the Trent McDuffie, that are going to even be the Jalen Watson? Like, this defense is going to look drastically different when you are asking your corners to blitz the way that McDuffie can come off the corner and edge and wreak havoc and then cover the way that they do at the same time, that is not easy to replace. And so it'll be interesting to see how they recover from those losses because, I mean, it's your entire secondary.
Yeah.
Quite literally.
Literally.
Yeah, their entire secondary. He's amazing. He's maybe the best defensive coordinator in football, but a lot of question marks. Let's go to Pittsburgh. All right, so the Steelers got Michael Pittman Jr. from the Colts, late-round pick swap, not a huge commitment there, but then they gave him a 3-year, $59 million deal. Pittman last year had 784 yards with 7 touchdowns. Of course, there's always the tie-in to if this is something that Aaron Rodgers would want, how it's going to impact his potential return. It's Willie's team, but Greg's position. Greg, we'll start with you. I'm thinking you maybe have some strong Michael Pittman feelings here. How dangerous do you perceive Pittman to be with Rodgers and the Steelers?
I don't think they're dangerous at all.
Okay.
Like, I don't like the combo of Michael Pittman Jr. and DK Metcalf. When you look at if Aaron Rodgers is your quarterback and knowing he has to get the ball out of his hands right away, Michael Pittman Jr. is not a yak guy, meaning get the ball in his hands quick and then he makes something happen. DK can do it because he plays bully ball. He can beat you up at the line. Neither one of them are great releasing off the line of scrimmage. Yes, he's a possession guy, more of a deep threat 50-50 guy. Obviously, DK is a lot faster. He provides you the same thing. I'm accustomed, and Willie, you can speak a little bit more to this.
Sure,
but from a receiver standpoint, the Pittsburgh Steelers, I've always viewed them as one of those teams that evaluates the receiver position very well. They've always found a way to find a diamond in the rough. And not necessarily even a diamond in the rough, like Santonio Holmes years back, and then Antonio Brown, Mike Wallace, Emmanuel Sanders, like those types of receivers that can do everything, that has the speed, that can run the complete route tree, that if you ask them to catch and go with the ball, they can do all of those things. I just don't see that with the acquisition of Michael Pittman. Like, he provides you something, but I don't see the value and how it can directly impact and add to the problems that they had last year.
Well, it was a calculated move, right? It was a late round swap. He's 28 years old. Yeah, his best years may be behind him. I think 2 years ago he was that guy. I don't think he's that guy, but he's a legit number 2 in which you need in a Steeler offense. And I also think if you're Aaron Rodgers right now, you just needed adults you can rely on, right? You needed DK. You have a solid number 2 in him. You needed somebody on Sunday you can rely on and show up. He is a possession receiver. I get that. But I think if you're the Steelers right now, you realize even with Aaron Rodgers in the offense and he elevated the offense, it wasn't enough, right? You need pieces to win with, and they still have a lot of room to make work. So going to the draft, you can draft. There's still some key pieces out in free agency you can win with. I think it was just a peg that they felt like they needed to add to this offense. I don't say bring in Aaron Rodgers, but I think they could build upon. I mean, his age enough is a win for them.
So they clearly needed something.
Yeah.
Right. They needed another pass catcher, and this is another pass catcher who is an NFL caliber player. I tend to agree with Greg in terms of the fit, but also, and this is maybe just because I could not play offensive line in the NFL.
Sure.
Could not get. I also I think more about the sport through like the general manager lens, and they're not getting great return on investment for what they're spending.
Yeah.
And I understand the cap is going up, and I understand supply and demand. There were not a lot of receivers here, but in terms of spending on wide receivers, which one of these teams doesn't belong? Because those are the top 3 spenders against the cap this upcoming year at wide receiver. And if we were going to do a conversation of like, what's the best wide receiver duo in the NFL?
The middle team, the Steelers would not be in that conversation.
But Jamar Chase and T. Higgins is in the conversation and maybe the answer.
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens would be in the conversation and maybe the answer. Steelers wide receivers last year, 29th in yards, 31st in catches, 30th in targets. Now I understand that's last year's production, and now I'm talking about next year's spending, and Pittman wasn't there for last year. But it's just, I don't see a world where DK and Pittman produce anywhere near the level at which they are spending and paying them to produce.
Well, see, I disagree. It's a win. You're paying Pittman, what, $24 million? I mean, that's a win in their eyes, and they're going to extend him, right? So for me, he's a serviceable receiver. Is he as dynamic as George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb? No. Or Jamar Chase and T. Higgins? No. But what they have right now, he's serviceable, and he can still win. Like I said, once again, he's 28 years old. He's not a 32-year-old receiver we're asked to be a legit number 2. In this offense, they still have to figure out, since they let go of Jonnu Smith, can they get another possession receiver? That could be big for them. In the run game line, they just acquired Rico Dotto. That's big. So now you have Rico and Jalen Warren. They possibly can get another left tackle. So for them, it may not make sense to the outside world, but for what they have and what they can spend with, this is a perfect move for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I like the move. I don't. Everybody else may hate it, but I like it.
All right, let's go to Philadelphia here, where they are just doing the subtraction thing, honestly. And that is, again, it all comes back to money this time of year with the free agency negotiation.
Money's the motivation.
It's a motivation for a lot of things. So they have said goodbye to Jalen Phillips. He got a cool $120 million from Carolina. Reed Blankenship, their defensive captain. Nakobe Dean, big locker room presence, huge snap percentage as a linebacker. And then, of course, Jahan Dotson on day one. So that's a lot of departures, Willie, with not a lot of additions thus far. Should Eagles fans be concerned?
Well, I would tell Philly fans to do something that they're used to hearing. That's trust the process, right? This is what they do in Philly. Trust the process. You got to understand, Jalen Phillips' contract, I think it was too much for them stomach. They let him walk. You talk about Nakobe Dean. He was injury prone. They let him go. But they was also prepared because they had Jaheed Campbell out of Alabama to kind of fill in right away. You also got to talk about losing Johanna Dotson. I may be chopping up his name. I apologize.
Jahan Dotson.
He seemed like he can never find his footing within the offense. They let him go. And Reed Blankenship, for me, is the one that hurts the most solely because I thought he was the glue to that secondary. It allowed Cooper to be Cooper and a young man, Quinyon Mitchell, to be him. Nevertheless, man, they have 9 draft picks, right? And Howie Roseman, this is his time of year. He doesn't lose his time of year. So I felt like, with everything that they've lost, they were prepared for the loss, and they'll be ready to go in free agency in the draft.
Yeah, I'm with Willie on this one. Look, trust the process. Howie Roseman, he deserves and he's earned the opportunity for fans and even us who aren't Philly fans to give him the benefit of the doubt, because he has consistently built a competitive roster year in and year out.
Yeah, more than competitive.
Yeah, like a Super Bowl contending roster. What I would say, like, in terms of Reed Blankenship, like, I feel you on that one because over 90% of their snaps, he was always on the field. There was only 2 other players that played more defensive snaps than Blank, which was Zach Bond and Cooper DeJean. The others, you mentioned Jordan Phillips. He didn't produce. Had he produced, and I know pressures are important, but pressures and sacks, when you talk about the group of guys that he's mixed in with in terms of pressure rate and pressure percentage, with Will Anderson, Nick Bonito, and Micah Parsons, and then there's obviously Jalen Phillips. They get the pressures and they get the pressures and they get the sacks. And so had he done that, I believe that they would have shown interest in, you know what, maybe we live with this. But with them having such a deep defensive line, specifically in that interior, we can go find somebody that can rush the passer.
So this is one of my specialties. 2 things can be true. Like, you guys are, Howie Roseman's maybe the number 1 pick, right? Les Snead, Brett Veach, Howie Roseman. Like, he's on the short list for best general manager in football, and Eagles fans should trust the process. And I will even take it a step further. Like, you can't even make any sort of allegation of they don't spend.
Yeah.
They paid Zach Bond. Obviously they've paid Saquon, they've paid A.J. Brown, they've paid Lane Johnson, they've paid Jalen Hurts.
He spends.
Like they spend cash, they spend to their cap limit, all that they spend. So at some point you have to make choices. Last year they chose not to pay Milton Williams, price of doing business. This year you choose not to pay Jalen Phillips, price of doing business. I'll concede all of that. But at some point there is a straw that breaks the camel's back of just like, that's a lot of talent to leave. The draft is, yes, it is his specialty, and yes, Howie Roseman hits on it more often than not, but he also has misses. But he
Sure.
could have taken Justin Jefferson. He didn't, right?
Yeah.
You
There's
know,
a lot of people that could have took
But
Justin
no,
Jefferson.
I know, but he took it was Naylor, right?
Yeah.
He took a receiver, and so
Yeah.
everyone has misses. So all of a sudden, if you're like, well, Howie's just gonna restock the cupboard, sometimes you don't. And so if it's a couple of off-season of departures, and then you have one of those off-seasons of bad luck, regression to the mean, whatever the case may be, like, it's just a lot of talent to leave in a short period of time.
Yeah, but I think the biggest issue for him right now is how can I get this O-line up and running, right? Like he has to.
That is a big issue.
He has to go into this draft and draft some big uglies that can really help Jalen Hurts out. And maybe on top of that, he's also gonna have to figure out, man, what's the deal with A.J. Brown? Like that's
got a lot of issues.
That's a legit concern. So I like Howie Roseman. He doesn't miss, and I think everybody that we just mentioned it is what it is.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.